Thank you for joining us, Ambassador Bosworth. Let's start with the North Korean Vice Foreign Minister Park Il-yeon's speech at the UN General Assembly. Now, Vice Foreign Minister Park said the hostile U.S. policy toward North Korea could ignite a nuclear war on the Korean Peninsula. How serious is the threat, and what should be Washington's response?
I think Washington's response will be simply to say that this is a continuation of the kinds of rhetoric that North Korea has used over the years, that we do not bear them hostile intent, and we certainly do not ever envision nuclear conflict on the Korean Peninsula.
Moving on to what's happening within North Korea, at the latest Supreme People's Assembly meeting, there was no announcement on the much anticipated economic reforms. Were you surprised?
Well, I think that there had been a buildup of expectations. I'm not quite sure why that occurred, but in any event, it seems that the People's Assembly really didn't reach an agreement on anything very profound. They extended the period of education one more year to 12 years, but there was no announcement of any pending economic reforms or any other sort of reform that would be of some interest. I was not that surprised. I think that North Korea has a history of over-promising and underperforming.
But some experts say the announcement might come later. So what's your assessment on that?
Well, that's very possible. But I think, for myself, I will believe a reform process is underway when I see actual evidence that things are changing. And so far, I haven't seen much evidence of change.
Back in November 2010, North Korea revealed a secret uranium enrichment program to visiting American experts. Now, that showed that its ability to enrich uranium is much more advanced than previously thought. So do you think, given that situation, that issue should be given a higher priority over plutonium-based programs in the U.S. policy?
Well, I think in some manner or another, we're going to have to take account of the enriched uranium program. We're quite confident that they're not producing any additional plutonium, but we frankly don't know at all what they're doing in the enriched uranium field.
Also, North Korea recently revised its constitution and declared itself to be a nuclear-armed state. Now, can we safely assume that Pyongyang is not going to give up its nuclear weapons programs?
Well, I don't think they're going to give it up anytime in the immediate future. I do think, however, that if we can get back into a negotiation with them, there are things short of complete denuclearization that would be of considerable interest and value to the other members of the six-party process.
You have maintained the position that the U.S. has to deal with North Korea as is. Can you elaborate on the suggestion?
Well, I think as in any negotiation internationally, you have to deal with the adversary or the other side seriously. And you can't, in the case of North Korea, I think there's been an unfortunate tendency over the years to believe that North Korea is somehow going to either collapse or reform, and we have not been able to really deal with them significantly on a realistic basis.
There have been a couple bilateral contacts between the U.S. and North Korea after Pyongyang's failed attempt to launch a rocket. And what is your suggestion for resolving the current standoff between the two countries?
I think a little patience is probably required, but I have no great insight into the current situation. I think we have to wait until the elections are over in this country and the elections are over in South Korea. Then I think there will be the opportunity over the next several months to try to re-engage with the North Koreans.
My last question is, when you look back on your days as a U.S. Special Representative for North Korea, what was your single most rewarding experience and what was your biggest regret?
My biggest regret, it's clear, is that we made very little progress in the negotiations with the North Koreans. In fact, we never actually were able to relaunch a formal negotiating process. So that, I think, is my biggest regret. I don't point to anything as a significant accomplishment other than the fact that we did have dialogue underway with them, and I think that's worth something. It's not a substitute for real progress, but dialogue is important.
Thank you for joining us, Ambassador Bosworth.
You're very welcome. Thank you.